I want to thank you all for coming here, being part of this. What an amazing experience. All the people here, I tell you what, listening to all of them, listening to what they say, listening to everybody has to say. Great group of people. Couldn't find a better group of people. What all the people say basically is the same thing. Do what you love. Do what you love. And I want to thank the Bonnies. I want to thank the Argentinians, Jamie, Stephen Higgins, Bob. Me and Bob are neighbors. He's from Earth also. So, yeah, it's been a really great thing, and I'm really blessed to be part of it. With that all said, we'll get it started. And hi, my name is Thor, and I'm from Earth. It's a nice place. I want you to know it. It's
Your mic fell down.
Got a trip over something there. You lost your mic.
all right. That's the way it goes. No, let's do it the professional way.
There you go.
All right. Let me get my notes together real quick. One note, two notes. So, I came up with Thor from Earth several years ago. I've been carving since 2000. I'm a cartoonist turned painter. Just was seeking inspiration, wanted to do more. And like Bob, I seen Joaquin at the county fair doing it. I was like, wow. I went up and talked to him. He didn't want to talk to me. He's one of those carvers who's very territorial. He's like, yeah, whatever, you want to be a carver? Like, all right, fine, I'll go do it myself. My mom cut down a tree. A year and a half later, I had the ugliest bear ever holding a silver Jesus fish. Me and my mom both looked at it in one of those jinx moments and said, well, I guess I don't have a career as a chainsaw carver. 20 years later, here I am. You know, so the bug caught me and I just kept with it. Tell you what, if I'd had one of those hurricanes back then, it'd have been a better bear, because I bought one a couple of years ago and went home and carved my first bear with it, and it actually looked like one. It rounds everything up, furs up real nice, and so it's really good. But as for me, I believe I'm part of a gift cycle. You know, I'm born on Earth. The Earth gives us everything we need. You know, the world's a gift. Starts off, we're given trees, and trees are the greatest gift any of us could have because they give us oxygen to breathe. Without trees, none of us would be here. None of us would be warm. None of us would have homes. This planet would be as barren as Mars. In fact, I'm wondering if we spend all this money to go to Mars, when we get there, we find, yes, there was life on Mars, and it was us, and we left there to come here. So with that in mind, we should all be aware of where we live, and until we find another Earth to go to, we should take care of the one we have. You know, it's a really great place. I learned a long time ago that the Lord provides, and if I was to want money, well, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work to go and do what I've done. All kinds of jobs. I've worked in warehouses. I was a gunner's mate in the Navy. I really loved it. Traveled all over the world. And got to see a lot of cool stuff and that. But I was bored. I go, all right, I don't say something this, and I realized that money wasn't the end all. And I looked at grown-ups and I'm like, well, they don't look like they're having a lot of fun, so no, I'm not going to do that. So it's been. Here we are, and then I got to a point where I'm like, oh, well, too old to grow up now. So, my life's about, I consider myself part of the gift cycle. The Lord gave me the gift to create, and in turn, I'm given the logs. I don't ever cut down a tree just to carve it. Some logs are necessary as harvest. I know time comes, the tree's going to fall, you have to do that. But I cannot create anything more beautiful than a tree in itself, the living, breathing thing. There is nothing dead that is better dead than it is alive. And that's the same with all of you. Be alive inside. Don't be dead. You are living. You'll have the rest of your life to be dead. Live now. Live in the moment, because there's a saying that says people who are obsessed with the past are depressed because they can't change it. people who are really anxious are worried about their living the futures. They're really anxious because they can't control it. But you want people to live in the now are the most peaceful, because now is all we're given. And it does work out. The gift cycle is an amazing thing. I was in the bar the other day talking to one guy. He goes, "Thor, how do you do it? You just go everywhere, been all over the world. You rarely have more than $1 in your pocket." And go, "Well, it happens." And all, but you know, you have faith. And as I'm standing there talking about it, Randy Rupert comes up to me and goes, "Hey Thor, I got some money from you that you did a carving back in 2014. Here you go." I go, "Hey, thanks." Put it in my pocket. Guys, Jason Evans looking at me, just going, "Yeah, that's the way it works." So, yeah. When I step out of the gift cycle, when I try to concentrate on something more than that, that's when I have issues. You know, it doesn't work for me. I lose my focus. I lose everything I'm talking about. So after the people all over the world come up to me when I'm at a show, they go, "Do you make a living doing this?" I go, "Well, I'm not sure if I make a living, but I do have a life." And people go, "Oh, almost every one of them nod their head in agreement." And I tell them, "Well, the Lord provides my needs. He always does, always has. But when my needs exceed my wants, or my wants exceed my needs, that's when I have trouble." So He does provide. The Lord feeds the birds, feeds everyone. But you know what He doesn't do? He doesn't put it in their nest. They have to go out and find it. So that's with all of you. Go out and find it. Find who you are. You know, I don't have a whole bunch of pictures about all kinds of stuff and all about who I am and all of that, because this isn't about me and what I've created. This is about y'all and what you're going to create, and how hopefully my goal here is to open your minds a little. Not to give you creation, but see creation. See that everything you want is in front of you. You want to know how to carve a better tree? Go look at it. Go really look at it. Look at it blow and bend in the wind and see how it goes. For me, that's how I am. I'm a landscape painter. I always love the distances, seeing way off into them and stuff like that. And a lot of people are like, wow, how do you get that perspective and do that? How can you take 1 inch and go from right here to thousands of miles away? And it's just perspective. Look at it. And similar with something like this, I brought an example of it on how 1 inch takes you from this tree to the sun. You know, and that's perspective. It's all about seeing what you want to see. You know, you can go there and see. I would slow it. I was thinking about doing some big talk stuff, and I may. You still have time. Like I say, I'm a fast talker. A lot of thought to say and stuff. So, but where was I? I had to do that a lot too. Get a little distracted. My first time doing this, after watching everybody here and the presentations they're giving, I feel like I'm a caveman running out of my cave with paint in my hands, going, "Hey, everybody, look what I done!" And they're all like, got airbrushes in their hand, going, "Yeah, whatever." So eventually, I'm going to upgrade, and it would be nice to have photos and pictures and stuff and all that. But then again, right now, it's not about me. I believe, and I want all of you to believe, that with all of us create, this world was made in creation. Everything on this planet creates something. Spiders, they create beautiful webs. But you know what they use that web for? To catch food. A bear can pay bills. If you're not going to carve bears, you better find something else that people like that you want to carve. Me, it was lighthouses. I'm like, oh, I like nautical stuff. I've always had a bent that way. I didn't actually know it, but my great-grandfather came from Iceland in the 1890s. So I'm kind of a throwback to my Viking heritage. And that just happens. I comment to my mom, I was like, wow, it's amazing that my life is about my favorite things. Sharp objects, fire, travel, and creating art. You know, and as a chainsaw sculptor, I'm like, wow, kind of am living a little bit of my Viking heritage in a more peaceful way. Because I believe world peace is possible. I've seen it. I've witnessed it, and I've lived it. Because I travel the world, and I've stood on the shores of Dunkirk where battles were waged between English and German and French, and people died all over the place over freedom. 60 years later, I stood on that same shore with a German carver, George Morris, walking the beach, having a whole different kind of shell exchange, going, "Hey, how about this seashell? Oh yeah, it looks cool. Hey, you see this one?" So it is possible. Chainsaw carvers are the emissaries of world peace. Every one of you. Every one of you. We show it. We come together as a community, all of us, and peacefully work together and create art. It is possible. I believe that if there's only one person has to stand up, or if it takes only one person to stand up for world peace and say, "I'll be that person who stands up. I believe in world peace. I want you all to follow me." I'll be that person. And I want you all to be that person, because eventually we'll all get the idea. And there's no reason for us not to be at peace. People are the same all over the world. I've been everywhere, and I've talked to everyone and seen people talk. I don't always understand the language, but you know something? They're all talking about the same thing. The families, the jobs, the government, the people, the guy next door. That tall, weird guy who's over there just looking at everybody smiling, and that's what it is. So it doesn't matter what language you talk. Everybody wants peace. So I believe that is possible. Let's see what else we got here. Roadblocks to creativity. Don't let yourself be blocked. Live fearlessly. Why not? My first time here in 2006, I came here, and for reasons I can't explain, I had my fear erased. Gone. I'm like, oh, all right, here I am. Went out in the bar, and I'm like, I danced because I could. Because the time was there. When was I not going? When was a better time? When's a better time to live your life? Now. Don't wait for whatever, because it'll come. But live now, because now is all we're given. And if you do that, if you live happy every day, you live happy all your life. And stuff happens. It always happens. It's the nature of the beast. But remember that just makes you stronger. I'll quote a good friend of mine and great brother down in Georgia. I'm sure a lot of you know Mal McEwen and Mad Hatter, chainsaw carving. His life philosophy is there are no problems, there are only solutions. And if you adopt that theory, you will always find a way out of whatever is coming towards you. There's always a way to figure it out, and have faith, and carry a spare tire. I had 16,000 miles across the country without a spare tire, blinkers, or car insurance. And in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, I blew a tire on the way to a show. And I was there for 2.5 days on the side of the road. Nobody stopped. And I'm like going, well, my phone had died like 2 days earlier. And I'm like going, well, it was a pouring rainstorm. I'm like, well, this don't work today. I'm going to get out, open up the back of the truck, pull out my stuff, and start carving on the side of the road. Somebody's bound to stop. And as I was waking up that morning, figuring, well, that's what I'm going to do, all of a sudden the truck pulled in and stopped, and out popped Chap Nelson. He was coming home from the show, and he seen my truck, and he's like, dude, you're still there? I'm like, yeah. And he came like, oh, man, you're my angel. And Chap's like, yeah, all right, you're round angel. And so forever since he has been. And, so we got it all together, got it home, and boom, it was saved, But keep the faith. When you're at a show, things go wrong. It's not always your fault. It's not all the world conspiring against you because I'm like, right, sometimes you melt. You go, oh, I was in England trying to get that power thing sorted out. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't. Everything's against me. Ah! The guy looks at me, he comes up from Wales, he goes, Storm, what's wrong? Oh, I need everything. He goes, it's all against you. All the forces in the world is conspiring just against you so you don't create. I'm like going, oh no, probably not. He goes, what do you need? I go, all right, extend your cord and ankle guard. All right, I got it over here. I'm like, oh, woohoo. So in those moments, have faith. Talk to everybody. That's the greatest thing about this family is they're helpful. If I couldn't have chose a better family. We're all given families, born into a family. We have no control over that. None at all. But the Chainsaw Carvers, the best family I could have ever picked is you guys. I'm a blessed man just by being here, by being at events. And it's great to win. It's great to be number one. But you know, it's only one number one. And if only the number one guy showed up at the show, not much of a show. So it's all of us make the show. And when you win, it's nice. But at the top, it's a narrow place to stand. And it gets unbalanced. So it's nice. You go up there, all right, come back down. You can climb back up, come back down. But it's nice, you know, be a happy winner and be a gracious loser. Because in life, we're living the dream. As they say, we are living the dream. How else are you going to tour the world by chainsaw? You know, they never told me in high school this was an opportunity. You know, and they look at me in my high school, they're like, well, I mean, yeah, here's Thor, you know. So I spent 8 years on a bicycle. I showed up at my high school reunion on a bicycle. Long hair, hippie freak. You know, I went to, at my 30-year reunion, they asked, who retired first? And I raised my hand, they looked at me and go, no, you gotta work to retire. I'm like going, that's not the message I got. Retire, they told me, you do what you want, you work until retirement, then you get to do what you want. I'm like going, well, all right, well, then I'm gonna do what I want right now. So about 30, I retired. Did what I want, said, all right, I'm good on this, I've done it all, and not everybody can do this. I understand people have families. And I have so much respect for all of you because distractions really make it hard to create at times, to get your head focused on where you want to be. I lived with my father for a few years, suffering from Alzheimer's. I'd be out there running a saw in the zone, carving. He'd come out and go, what you doing? I mean, what am I doing? He's like, you know. But you get that question a lot, even at the shows. Engage the people at the show. Have fun. Because, and as I tell everybody at the show, I go, it wouldn't be a show without people. Without people, we're just guys with saws and logs and parking lots. You know, the people make the show. So engage them. Talk to them. They love it. They really do, you know. Carve little stuff. Ice carving's the funnest because you see where your saw goes. It doesn't really necessarily have to be sharp. And you can take the little pieces off and give them to the kids. Always engage the children because the parents will love it, the kids will love it, and the children are innocent. So if you could put positivity into a blank slate, boom, you have it. You know, then they will come up and go. Even the times when sometimes they get a little feisty, especially mornings if I haven't eaten. That's why I said, no, I'm not doing the first. If I'm going to do a seminar, put me the second one because my blood sugar will be a little better. We'll have a happier thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, children are the essence of our future. You know, let's try not to screw them up anymore. You know, you screw up children, you screw up the future. You know, so you know, the show was so much fun. You know, having people, engaging them and talking with them and stuff. And when I go to New Mexico for the Balloon Fest, I've been fortunate in life just to go places where I never would have thought. You know, my first time over to England, I got invited over, and people go, well, Thor, how'd you make it here? You're a chainsaw carver on a bicycle, goes to one show a year. How'd you make it to England? I go, well, the bus goes to the airport. So I was able to go there, and that's where I met the Bonnies. And great people, you know. They invited me back over here to this, and I met the Germans. I took German in high school. It's funny, I learned German from a Japanese lady, joined the Navy, and went to Japan. And I didn't get to speak German again until 25 years later when I met the Germans in England. And I kept it up in my head mainly because I was blessed with an overactive imagination, and I've always been just a little off, or maybe I should say aware. I was born with like an awareness, And that's just, I don't, so when I was in school, I've been running businesses since 3rd grade, and teachers got mad, says, oh, you can't learn to run business, you can't run a business in school. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm just, thought I was taking advantage of the children, you know. Nah, I'm a child. But I was just aware, I bought stickers for a penny a piece and sold them for a nickel a piece. Basic buy and sell profit. And that's how you earn a living. I've always been about the small money, because everybody has it. Carve little stuff. Don't let your scrap go to waste. Don't throw away 20, 40, 50. You don't have a pile of $20 bills there that's 100 of them. Because that'll feed you. And have fun stuff. I can do little campfires. Anything bigger than this gets carved. Because about that big is a campfire. I mean, it's real easy to sell. I just sold one last week and they're $20. This guy came up to me and goes, well, that's too much. I'm like, all right. How much do you want for it? He goes, how about 10? I go, how about 15? He goes, how about $12.50? At that point, I'm like, all right, beer money. But it's still money. It's less out of your pocket. So then he goes, all right, gives me 2 5s and $2.50 in change. A big pocket full of change, and gives me $2.50 in change. Going all right, and I tell him the story. I go, you know what I do with this change? He goes, no. Years ago, my nieces and nephews, because I touted myself for years as an international starving artist. Starving to the point where it's a term of dedication. I heard years ago that a true artist would rather starve than do anything else. And I apply that philosophy to my life. But I figured also it's not fair. As a single guy, I can do that without kids. But as a married person with kids, I couldn't do that. That's why I never did marry or have kids. Starving artists, we don't really make good husband material. A lot of fun to play with, but otherwise. So, yeah, where was I going with that one? So yeah,
Counting the change.
huh?
You had change.
What do you do with the change?
Oh, the change in my pocket. Yeah, my nieces and nephews, 3, 6, and 9, gave me all for Christmas one year. They took all their change and gave it to me because I was poor, apparently. Never realized it, But so I was really touched by the $12 that they gave me. So all the rest of my life from now on, I collect all my change, and at the end of the year, I give it back to them. And that's what I told him. I said, yeah, I give all this change will all go to a jar that I give to my nieces and nephews and support their education. And my niece, who's now 19, says, thank you. She used it to buy textbooks this year and stuff. So, and the guy's going, oh, wow, really? Hands me the rest of his change, put it in my pocket, and I go and put it in the pocket. So, yeah, engage people. Be friendly. And everyone, no matter what it is, no matter what the language you're speaking, all humans are gifted with a universal translator. Every one of you has a universal translator that works on every human all over the planet. You're seeing it right now. It's called a smile. If you're going to travel the world and be poor, you better be friendly. Nobody wants to help you. People will help you in your quest for creation all the time. But if you're angry, nobody wants to buy anything from a 6'3" angry chainsaw sculptor. And I found that out the hard way one time. I went through a series of breakups where when I broke up, the girls would give me a psychotic t-shirt. I'm like, oh, all right. And one time I had this one that said, I like you. I'll kill you last. I like her. All right. And I thought, well, it's funny, but you can't wear it. So I went to a one-day show. I wore it just to get the laugh from my carving buddies. We all had a laugh, and then we went about the day and carved and all that. And I couldn't figure out that day why no one came up and talked to me. It's like, what's going on? No sales, nothing. And at the end of the day, I looked down and go, Oh no, I forgot to change my shirt. You can't be a long-haired hippie freak with a chainsaw saying, I like you, I'll kill you last, and expect to make sales. So no matter how big a smile you have, they don't see that smile as something friendly at that point. So, engage your public. Make them feel welcome about and happy about being there, and they'll love it. The benefits you get from them are amazing, because we're all conduits of energy. Every one of us. This is why Ridgeway is a success, why everybody comes here, and what the power that is because we're all conduits of energy, with I believe a straight conduit to the Creator. Every one of us has it, and when we get together, two of us, just like it says, when two people get together in my name to speak, the energy is stronger. So my creativity, with Brad's creativity, with Elmer's creativity, with everybody's creativity here, it gets bigger. That whole, that creative energy becomes a vortex, and we gather more together as a unit, more creativity than we ever would by ourselves. So get together. That's the nice thing about it. That's another reason why I believe we're the emissaries of peace. Because here, once a year, we come, we gather the forces of goodness and take it back with us and go out to the world and spread it to everyone else. Come back here depleted, we energize. And if you've seen me come here when I first get here, I'm usually a little rough when I get here at first. I'm like, oh man, I've been through that, all this stuff, got all this stuff. But by the time I leave, it's this. You all have filled me again with such positive energy and goodness that it can't help but radiate and shine out. It just erases anything else you might have had. Any other doubts, any other things, any of that stuff. It just makes it go away, because what you're doing is the right thing. And how do you know what you're doing is the right thing? Take it to your last dollar. Take it to your last dollar and see what happens. I've been there. I was on a vacation with a friend, and we're at the ocean, and all of a sudden I forgot my money. I thought, oh man. Like down to my last dollar. The person I was with, I've never been with nobody who didn't have any money before. No bank account, no credit card backup, no anything. I'm like going, well, tell you what, I have a person over here been wanting me to create something for him. Why don't we stop in and talk to him? I walk in, I talk to the store owner, and I'm like going, all right, your husband sent me here to talk to you about creating some art. She looked at me, she goes, well, that's going to cost me money. I'm like, it's going to be a tough sale. But I've learned, if you want someone to buy something from you, buy something from them. So I'm like, all right, I got my last dollar. I got to sell this lady something. What am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? That would have been a great Snickers commercial, because that's what I did. I bought a Snickers and add some chocolate, get your serotonin levels, which are the serotonin's that thing that makes your brain happy. So make sure you keep those levels up. If you ever feel depressed, cinnamon wheat toast. It's the best thing you can have for depression. Wheat toast is full of serotonins. Cinnamon's a natural mood enhancer, and everybody likes butter and sugar. So as I'm talking with this lady, she's, all right, well, my husband will be here in 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, why don't we look through the portfolio, just while we're here, passing the time. By the time he got there, she decided on a design she wanted, $1,000 mural. Paid me a third down right then. We took it, went to the bank, cashed it, and rolled on. And 3 months later, I delivered the mural for him. Turned out to be an amazing piece. I wish I had a picture of it here, because when I was done with it, I was so happy with it, but I had no one to show and share it with. So I opened my gates. There's a couple of homeless guys walking by. I lived in the middle of the city for 20 years. And I said, dude, you got to see this. They come in, and they're like, oh, all right. But one of them was so excited. He goes, oh, I just love it. And before I know it, he's got his face in the middle of my son, and he is licking my painting. And I have to utter words that I thought I would never utter in my life. I'm like, dude, get your tongue off my painting. I go and grab him by the shoulders, pull him back, his tongue's sticking out still. He's like, it's so great, I love it, I love it. I'm like, come on, all right. I let him go for a minute, and boom, he's right back on it. I'm like, all right, well, the show's over. Escort him out and stuff. It happens, you know, the forms of appreciation people show you. So, and it was very similar to this, because this is where I live in my head. Even though I was raised in the city, in my head I live on the beach. I love the distances, I love being able to see and be there. So that's just what I carve because I love it, and then people like it. So, but you want to carve what you love because then it shows. It'll come out. If you do what you love, it'll come out. My first year here, you could walk around and you can see the new carvers. Their bears aren't the best, but their noses are up. They're uplifting. They're positive. They're on their way up. They're gonna, yeah, I'm heading somewhere. Or sometimes you see guys who've been carving bears for years and years. It's perfect form. I'm bored. I've been doing this all my life. I sure wish I was carving something. And it's the energy that you put into your art comes out. It'll show. And that's what people will see. And that'll come forward. So do what you love, and the money will come. And if the money doesn't come, you're still doing what you love. Because when you do what you love, money doesn't matter. Money only is a tool. One of my favorite sayings about money is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp version, the new one, where Charlie now has the golden ticket. And he wants to go sell it for money because their family's super poor. And the great-grandfather calls him over and he goes, Charlie, you gonna sell this golden ticket for something as common as money? He goes, everybody has it. They print more of it every day and it's all out there and you can find it whenever you want it. And he goes, money's common. This is priceless. So all of you are a golden ticket. You are priceless. Don't sell yourself short, but also give back. Remember, you have given the gift, and you make gifts for others, that they give to others. And to be part of that gift cycle of happiness, it's an amazing thing. I had a lady come up to me also when I sold that fire, come up, I carve a lot of kittens and stuff like that. And I'm a cat person, I like cats. And she goes, wow, my cat died 19 months ago, and this totally reminds me of son. She was so happy to have that. And when you have that energy, it's like, wow, that's just great. You know, to make, that you can heal somebody with a piece of wood. That you can take the most powerful, dangerous hand tool on the planet and create happiness with it. That's the juxtaposition of what we do, because it's so raw, so in your face, so uncontrollable it appears, you know, so, but still, you can make a beautiful thing. It's the art of destruction. And then you destroy it to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's honoring the tree, because you want to honor the tree. That tree gave us life. That tree gives us warmth. That tree gives us this building that we are in, you know, and everything. So honor the tree. Honor every little piece, you know. Make sure that they all go out there, because those 20, you sell $20 carvings, it's $100. You know, and those $100 start adding up. You start, all right, boom, 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 just do the math. If you live simply, the money, it all adds up. You know, it's really just an amazing thing. Let's see where we are now. I covered it all. Oh yeah, here we go. Have a story. Engage the people, you know, because why not? That's what they're there for. They want to know who you are. People go, oh, you're a glory hound. You're always talking to the newspapers. I'm like, no, I'm not really. I believe there's glory for all of us. There's glory here for all of us, and because one person takes it and another person does it, doesn't mean that person's a glory hound. It just means they're aware of what's available to them. So when you talk to the newspapers, please be careful what you say. They will print it, or they will not print it. The stuff you want them to print, they're not printing that. Stuff you don't want them to print, you bet they're printing that. I've been quoted in North Carolina newspapers saying, oh, Thor says chainsaw carving is a great aggression release, because after a day of running the chainsaw, you're too tired to be angry or feisty. Not really the image you want to put forth, but be careful. I tend to talk, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, no, don't put that story in. But that's the way it goes, and you are who you are. Be true to yourself, because that's the key to happiness. And when you're happy, it'll radiate out, and other people will feel it. And they did a scientific study recently that said, if you're not happy, fake it. Be happy to someone else. They won't know you're faking it, and they'll send real happy back to you. And then you'll have happy. And they go, oh, all right, so it's an energy exchange. You know, and I've been knowing that for years. When I lived with my father, who was suffered from Alzheimer's, and people would always say, hey, when you go to a store, or people would say, hey, how are you doing? They don't always want to know that. You can't tell them everything, because like, whoa, some things you tell people can't be untold. And so you don't want to, and if there's nothing they can do about it, why mess their reality up when they're trying to have their own reality that they have to try and be happy with? So I came up with the term, well, another exciting day in the world. And it all depends on how you say it. You know, it's like, yeah, it's another exciting day in the world, or yeah, it's an exciting day in the world. You know, and still, people come and go, wow, he's such a positive person. I'm like, I really have no idea. But you put that forth, and it comes back to you. And when it comes back to you, I smile at everybody. And I love it when the person who won't smile back at you does, or sometimes doesn't. You go, man, that person needed it the most. You know, so, and it's a real easy thing to do, to be, just spread happiness. You know, we're lucky to be able to do that. You know, so enjoy it. Become a weekend rock star. Chainsaw carving is the closest you'll ever come to being a rock star without knowing a thing about music. You know, so enjoy it. It doesn't have to be more than that. You know, you don't realize how much of a weekend rock star you are until you're in Germany. I got the good fortune to go to East Germany in my career, and I don't know how, it was wild because it was just two Americans there, me and Brian Ruth. And Brian looked at me and goes, Thor, how'd you get here? I go, well, I'm making an airplane. So, but it was amazing. As you're carving, well, it's really humiliating sometimes because you're there. And Sebastian borrowing the Sebastian saw, he's got this big steel with a 4-foot bar, and I couldn't get it started. I couldn't get it started. I hadn't used that one before. And so then all the Germans are there, all right, this American car, and I'm there, and I have to have Sebastian come over start the big saw for me. So in those moments, when you're frustrated, when things go wrong, when things are rough, make comedy, make light of it. And so I got something like coming up, don't worry, I know how to use it, even if I don't know how to start it. Get people to laugh and engage them, and they'll go right with you and stuff like that. And later, they came up to me with pictures of myself working that they had taken, went back and printed, and then brought to me with a pen and said, oh, will you sign this? I'm like, all right, first time that ever happened. So that was a lot of fun, you know, and it can happen. Just if you believe, go forward. You will find that you get invited to stuff. Every show leads to another show, leads to another show, leads to another show. As my mentor, the first guy I ever met at chainsaw carving competition was Steve Backus. And he came up to me, oh, dude, welcome to the show. Here's this big, hairy dude come up giving me a hug. I was a bit, just gotten out of the Navy, so I was a bit on the Larry side about men. So I'm like, oh, all right, but I realized that was the nature of the beast. And since then, I'll hug more men. I've probably hugged all of you in here at one time or another, you know, but it's an exchange of energy. And it was a good thing. And I go, wow, here's 70 people just like me, as crazy as me. Just, well, I don't know, maybe as crazy as me, but, you know, so. But they accepted me. They go, you're weird. We like you. So it's been a great journey. It really has. I would recommend it to everybody. Say yes. When someone says, hey, you want to come to England? Go, all right. Only reason I wasn't evicted was because I came home, I owed 2 months rent. The only reason I wasn't evicted from my house, the landlord's like, well, we didn't know what to do with all the logs in that big pile of sawdust. Next year I was going back, my mom, she knew that I didn't make any money. She goes, tell it, if you don't go to England this year, I'll buy you a truck. I'm like, no, that ain't happening. I'm not much on strings. So now I drive my own truck. You know, I got to do it my own way, and I've always been that way. And I recommend that to everybody. Find your way. Find your happiness, and then live it. Because it'll radiate out, and everyone else will know. Good. So let's see. What else? Did I leave anything out? Yeah, my glasses so I can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe in yourself, that's all good stuff. I consider myself to be a chainsaw impressionist. This I tell people, it's just my impression. What I'm going to carve with a chain, what I think this subject looks like, carved with a chainsaw. Because after all, it's a guy who tours the world by chainsaw, know about reality anyway. So, yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. Make a story. So when you do talk to the reporters, it's fun. You know, don't say, when I was in Germany, they interviewed me, they go, we like talking to you because you answer 5 questions for every one. Where some people, they go, are you a carver? Yeah. What do you carve? Over there. He's like, yeah, engage them. You know, have a story. I was been doing this since I was little, giving interviews. Just finally got somebody who actually is there listening besides me. You know, so actually, oh wow, there's actually someone with a camera instead of the one. So I've been practicing all my life to talk to people. That's kind of how I got good at it. But if you ever met my mom, you know I come by it naturally. She's the best woman there ever was, I tell you what. She still volunteers every day. Every day. So, I mean, is there any questions y'all like to have? Any? I could talk for hours, but I like to say, it's not all about me. It's about y'all. Do you have any questions about what you'd like to know, what you'd like to see? I know I brought chalk and I was supposed to, I could draw, I could show you how to do this fairly quickly, perspective if you'd like to know. If you'd like to see it, or if you have any other questions you want to ask, that things I maybe have left out and want to know, feel free to even answer almost anything you want to know. Yeah.
What type of paint are you using?
What type of paint?
Yeah.
Generally the way I finish my carvings, like these ones, I will carve it, sand it, burn it. Use your torch. I love my big torch, the brush burner. Burn it hard, because the grain, you can see the grain there pops right out, so you can dry brush it. I always hated painting my carvings because you lose the grain. But if you burn the wood hard, kills the mold spores, gone. And then also kills any fungus, gone. And then seal it right afterwards when it's warm so the oil seeps in farther. And then you won't have any problems with that. And then from there, I will rattle can it, which is a spray can. You just do your base coats, you know, a little bit of orange, then put them through there for a base coat. Then I use acrylic latex, basically house paint. And I dry brush over the top of that against the grain. Take a little bit on your brush. Make sure you want to brush it off on something, 'cause you don't want a lot of paint on your brush when you dry brush, and just enough so when you bring it across the grain, you see all the burnt stuff here, but the paint catches the top and you have contrast. Because contrast is good. You know what happens when everything's all one color? This. That's what the world looks like when it's one color. Where's the tree? Where's everything? If we were all the same color, you wouldn't see anything. So contrast is good. Learn to create and flow, and so. And when your painting begins, I always do. Let's see, how's this go? top to bottom, back to front, dark to light. Those are your three basic principles of painting. Always start at whatever the furthest point away is, at the topmost point, and go from there. Well, one reason, if you start at the top, the paint runs down, gravity works, so you may have drips, and you don't want to, as you come down, you don't want to start at the bottom, have something great, paint something at the top, and then it drips down on it. And that's not what you want to have. So, and then dark to light, that way you get your shadows and your shades and that kind of stuff, where you're able to, you gotta see your contrasts, because that's what makes it. These little spots right here, little contrast and stuff like that, that's what it's all about. That line right there, without it, you don't see it. Everything blends together. So as you're doing relief carving, coming at an angle, and remember that little, as a cartoonist, you have that little line, and that creates your line right there. That creates the line underneath the seagulls, so they have motion, they look like they're flying. This is a simple cut in that, but it's all of a trick of the eye. So your eye sees what it's accustomed to see. So you learn what the eye sees, and then go from there and go, all right, look at it yourself and go, all right, what's missing? It doesn't flow, what do I need to have in it? You can really, next thing you know, it works on anything. Whatever your design is. So it's real simple. You just go right here and use a tree. Use your mouth. And you see, put some snow on the mouth. Just looks easy. The snow falls down. Figure out where your sun source is. That way the highlights are right there. You got mouth. Darker. Not the same as a blackboard, but when your trees come up, your trees in the distance. In the distance, what do they look like? They look like just basically sticks. Coming up. Water falls. It's an amazing thing. It just comes down, and you just water goes down, splashes up, flows on down. And let's see. We'll just make this not the color rocks on that side. And the rocks come in. The tree comes over a little more, so you can have some stab and stuff like that. Next thing you know, got some more branches, a little grass coming up. Make things in close, you want to do close up, so you can have them. Things that are far, that are a little distance, you can't necessarily see them as much, but it leaves you gaps in right here. Because that's the darkness, what you can't really see. You can go over. Be sure to frame your stuff in. So on this side right here, you go, oh, what's over here? Could be anything. What do you want it to be? Like making a little house, a little happy house. Door in, put some cabin, comes over, put some lines so people realize it's a door. A little smoke coming up. Put some grass on it, a little path. Trees behind it. Pretty simple, you got a whole thing going. You can see where you're at.
Don't forget the ducks.
What's that?
Don't forget the ducks on the pond.
All right, the ducks on the pond. I'll tell you what, we'll have the ducks flying in. How's that? It was a nice day, there's a little bit of clouds going in. Be sure to frame it. This here frames it when you create stuff like this. Art should be circular, as we've learned from the other ones. Art, when you look at something, your eye should be able to go around in a circle. This here leads, the tree leads you up and leans you into the birds, which leads you to the mountains, which leads you to the smoke, which brings you down to the house, which brings you to the waterfall, brings you back up, and you go, all right, you come back around. when you create, that's something you want to remember. You don't want to have your tree going this way and leading the eye away from the picture. It's the same way if you do sign work for people. You want the sign to lead into itself so the eye will follow whatever direction it is sent. It's just a natural human condition that's the way people see things. So if you lean it together, it frames it, and you get a nice picture. Any other questions?
Well, I'm not understanding this is
Mm-hmm.
in a big piece that used to be at the house, and I'm looking for, every time I see it, I get a little, piece, it's just.
Oh, well, thank you.
I have to.
Right.
And then one story, Ridgeway years ago, and she was in the streets, and we're up, back at the studio, and I'm standing there, man, I'm hungry. And I'm like, well, what? I don't have no money left, and this guy, I'm standing next to me, this guy just comes up to you, wants some food?
Happens
But
all
that's
the
happened with you and me lots of times.
Most everybody here has seen it happen. I was standing at a show at the Wood Miser. We're like both working and we're late. We go, man, it'd be sure nice to have something to eat. He goes, yeah, it would be. All of a sudden the guy comes up to have pizza. Hey, you guys want some pizza? I'm like, yeah, sure. The guy looks at me and goes, wish for money. Wish for money. I'm like, why? We got food. So yeah, it is amazing how that works, and I don't quite understand it. So, but if you give yourself to it, it'll happen. Yes.
Me and John went to the store yesterday, John Keystone, and Sean will look at his bench and hear the story behind it. Kind of walked up, there's this clock kind of running somewhere, and you're looking, you're like, what is going on there? And he has a really good story behind the whole thing, and it all makes good sense.
No, thank you.
It's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting, when I first came here, I thought, all right, this year I've always tried to give back, and this is a place where you can give back. I always try to give back. I found myself on a big stump job and been there for a while, and it was Christmas, and I was trying to figure, I wanted to give something more besides the big sculpture I was giving to the community. And I'm like, what else? What am I going to do? And all of a sudden I realized, I'm standing on a pile of scraps and I got a chainsaw in my hand. So the first thing I did, all right, found a nice square, about a switch plate size piece, and carved a cross into it. I'm going to carve a cross in this, give it to the first person who comes up. This guy came up on a bicycle. I go, here you go. He goes, wow, you have no idea what this means to me. I go, oh yeah? He goes, yeah, my name is Deacon Frank, and I've been riding my bicycle around town seeking for confirmation about what I do with my life. I never come by this area, and I seen you were doing this. I come up and you hand me a cross. Just thanks. And he took it, and I'm like, wow. I was like, well, that was a nice experience. Carved a dozen more, put them in the trees, and when the neighbors came up and go, oh, did you get your Christmas gift? And I go, all right. And since then, it was such a positive, uplifting experience for me. It's the simplest carving you'll ever do. And it's just a square little square. Across. Punch a hole through it so you can see it. I tell people, whenever you're in trouble, whenever things are tough, hold that cross up and let the light of the Lord shine on you, and the answer will come. And people love it. And since then, Deacon Frank, he ministers to the sick in hospitals. So I send him boxes of crosses just because. And it's a really uplifting thing. People really enjoy it. And they just, that's what it's all about, really, is the enhancement of the human condition. That's why art is necessary. Art is our connection to God, because God created us, and only in His image. So like a picture is a flat thing. You don't see all of it. And our attempt, and we create, and that creation is what we're given to do, because it's an honor of Him, since we try to be like Him, so we're creating. So create happy stuff. Create, and happiness will follow you. You know, I've had someone once go, "Oh, you should create evil stuff. There's a big market for it." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing it." You know? If I wanted to do that, I would have invented the video games that are poisoning the minds of our youth now. You know, I had that stuff going in my head way before it ever came out. I'm like, no, I didn't want to share that part of it. There's an old Native American proverb that says, people are made of two wolves, evil wolf and a good wolf, and they become the wolf that they feed. Feed your good wolf. Keep your other guy there just in case someone wants to be feisty, but even still, just go. You know, but, you know. So, I would say, do what you love. And I'm honored to be here with all of you and to be part of it and that. So it's just amazing. I have a motto that I live by, and it's live, love, and create. And I'm going to add one more word to it for y'all. Live, love, and create well. Because you can. Because the Lord gives it to you to do. And whenever you want to find inspiration, it is out there. It is right in front of you. Everything you want to know about anything is in front of you. If you look at it hard enough, you'll see it. I've made things. I had a guy in West Virginia says, "I need a 9-foot angel made out of this big oak log," and he handed me a coin about this big for a reference. I'm like going, all right, you look at it, all right, well, she's got long sleeves, it comes to here, you figure out take everything from her that you can, and then go with the rest. And he was really happy because it was a sad tale that he told. You can have everything in the world you want. He was a rocket scientist who lived on a lake with a jet boat, had tons, worked for, had tons of money, had everything he wanted. His 18-year-old daughter committed teen suicide and died. And while he quit everything, he went snow skiing. And while he was snow skiing, he found that coin, which was a patron saint of skiers, that had that angel on it that matched the tattoo that his daughter had. And so that carving was done as remembrance for his daughter. And here's a man who could do anything, but he couldn't carve his log into an angel to heal his suffering. So, and I'm not much of a water skier and all that stuff, but I was glad to be honored to help him. And he's doing great, and it did. So that's what we do. We heal people. We're all healers. And so go out there and heal the world, because I tell you what, it kind of needs it.